And welcome back, guys, to the Spacey Tropics Review channel, where we try to review just a little bit of everything. Like I always say, judging by the title, you can see what we're reviewing today. That's going to be this guy to the right of me and this guy to the left of me, since I'm looking this way. It's going to be the Logitech Z407 2.1 speaker system. Also comes with this handy little dial. We're going to go into some details, some specs, and everyone's favorite, the sound test, which is going to be first as part of a new thing now that I'm doing with my channel compared to what everybody else is doing. So without further ado, let's get into the Z407 speaker system review. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and start off with the sound test. Now, quick disclaimer, the two songs that I'm going to use for the sound test are made by me, as you'll clearly see on the iPad. They're made in GarageBand, and yeah, this is just really to avoid any copyright issues. I'm not an audiophile or audio engineer by any means necessary, but I tried to make these songs as best as possible to put out bass versus treble versus mids. They are not the best by any means, but they're something, and I'm gonna go with it. So without further ado, the microphone is going to be set about, well, not microphone, but this recorder here. I'm going to take it off and set it about 3.5 feet away from the speaker system. Enjoy. So without further ado, let's get into the sound test. I'm going to start it off at about 50% volume, like I normally do. We're going to go ahead and raise it up now. Usual 75-80%. Alright, let's switch it up over here to the next track. Had to lower the volume of the mic actually, because it was clipping. How funny. How funny indeed. From a small little thing like this, it can clip a recorder. Alright, let's go to the second track. Again, controlling the volume via this. That about concludes That about concludes the sound test for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Let's get back to the actual video and move on from there. Alrighty then, so you heard it for yourself. This thing is loud for an 80 watt peak, 40 watt RMS speaker system. This little guy is super duper loud. I'm going to go into the specs a little bit. Just real quick, I just want to touch up on the design real quick for the Z407. I believe the subwoofer is made of some wood, followed by a little bit of a lacquer kind of coating on the outside, versus the satellites to the left and right of me are made of 100% plastic. It's all plastic. Like as soon as I took this out of the box and lifted it up, including this thing, it was super light. Personally, in these satellites, I think the only thing that's in there is the board to handle all the signal processing, and then the driver, and that's it. It's majority plastic, which was a little weird for me, and plus the cables feel a little flimsy at first. But nonetheless, for $80, you can't really expect much. Even this was plastic and felt very light until I added the included batteries with it. But nonetheless, again, like I said, it was very light. Overall design, I mean, for 80 bucks, it's still pretty decent. It's still pretty good. Let's go into some of the specs real quick. I will put this to the side. I have my trusty iPad here. Thanks to Logitech for being such a good sport and including some of the specs. Including some of the specs of this speaker on their website, so you don't have to go digging around for it, right? So we have this either satellite here, about 7.8 inches tall with 3.7 inches of a width, and then 3.35 inches in depth. Versus the subwoofer, which is about 9.4, 9.5 inches tall, about 9 inches in width, and then 7 inches deep. No pun intended. So, pretty decently sized system. I'd say the satellites are about as tall as maybe your average everyday 16.9 ounce bottle of water. So, you got a bottle of water laying around, stand it up. That's probably as close to what these things are looking at in terms of height. Now, as I did mention before, this speaker system is an 80 watt peak power system, which means totals out at 80, okay? Now, like I usually say, I watch for the RMS, which is half that power. So it's 40 watts RMS, and Logitech also clearly marks it on their website as well. It's 40 watts RMS with 20 watts going to the subwoofer dedicated and 10 watts each going to each satellite dedicated. Now, at first glance, you may think that is not enough. At first glance, I thought that's not enough, especially since I found my old Z623s. If you guys want a video about that, let me know. I've had this speaker system for about 6 years now or so. So I can tell you very much how wear and tear goes for the Z623s, owning it for that long. But that's besides the point. You would think 80 watts, 40 watts RMS is relatively small. To be quite honest with you, some of the portable speakers nowadays are pushing out 40 watts with 20 watts RMS, but you get the point. A lot of people don't like the fact that I do watts because that's not the only way speaker is looked at. To be personally honest with you, watts means loudness, and that's what most general population look for. How loud can the speaker get, and how good does it sound when it gets that high in terms of volume? Well, I'll tell you what, in terms of volume, this thing sounds pretty crisp and clear when you hit that 80%, 85% mark. After that, little bits of distortion start to pop up here and there, but I mean, come on, again, it's an $80 system. You can't complain, really, you can't, especially for how loud it gets. But anyways, that's besides the point. For 40 watts RMS, this thing is a steal of a deal. That's not the only thing though, because obviously we're in the specs department. And what better than to say how many connections this thing has to play music through it. Happy to report there's at least 3 different connections that Logitech gave this speaker system in order for you to be able to use it. The first being Bluetooth. This does come with Bluetooth 5.0, at least according to Logitech. So let me just double check that. Yep, Bluetooth 5.0 is what this speaker system comes with. I did see somewhere that this thing came with Bluetooth 4.1 for some reason. I don't know which one is right, but according to Logitech, this has Bluetooth 5.0. So that's a welcome thing to see. This does also come with an auxiliary port. Praise the aux cord. The aux gods have blessed this little speaker system. One more thing that this thing has in terms of connection wise is, and It's pretty cool. A USB connection, so you can connect this to your computer via the USB option. You'll be able to use the control dial like normal. The control dial will be your main system volume. It's not going to be a system volume for the speaker and a system volume for the computer. No, it all molds into one, which is great. My only gripe with that, and I'll get into it a little bit more, is the fact that the connection in the back of the subwoofer is micro USB. And in today's age, we all know micro USB is sooner or later going to be obsolete. But we'll get into that in the cons in just a bit. Another nice little amenity feature kind of thing that they gave to the Z407 is the fact that you can place a speaker anyhow you want, the satellite speakers that is. So as you should be seeing right now, you can either place it standing up, or you do have the option to place it horizontally, lay it flat. So let's say you have a computer monitor that has no height adjustment, but there is enough space for it to lie in the bottom. Cool. You now have the option to place it horizontally or place it vertically, your choice, your preference. I want to go into the dial a little bit too. So the dial, it's pretty obvious. The plus is over here, so you raise it up. This is a sticker, by the way. I just left it on for video purposes, but the plus is over here, so you'll turn it to the right side clockwise to raise the volume. Turn it counterclockwise to lower the volume. You press once, you play pause music on Bluetooth. If it's on auxiliary, it mutes the track. The difference is that when it mutes the track, you're going to have to realize that the track is still playing, it's just muted. Keep that in mind. At least that's what I heard from the Logitech side of things. That is your play pause button. Push it twice, that's to skip a track. Push it three times, that's to go back a track. And then one thing you're going to hear when you push and hold, now you're in bass mode. Now you have full control of the subwoofer and how much bass you get versus how much you want to take away. So as I play a little bit of music in the back, just had to do that. So as I play a little bit of music in the back, you push that, hear that notification. You hear that little beep? That means the subwoofer is marked full. Bring it all the way down this way. You hear that notification to give that the subwoofer is practically off. You have no bass. Raise it back up slowly, and now you have that fine-tune adjustment. Oh, that's all the way up. Bring it back down a little bit, because I know once you raise the volume, it's going to be loud. Push it and hold for 2 seconds again, and it's going to come out of that mode, or you could just leave it in about 10 seconds or so. It should come out of that mode by itself. In the bottom, there are two buttons. One button dedicated to connect this thing back to Bluetooth versus the other button, which is a source button to go between the auxiliary and the USB functions between the two of them. Pretty simple, pretty easy to understand. It's overall pretty great system. But now let's go into the cons real quick, and some may be nitpicky, some may not be nitpicky. Something I really don't like is the fact that this thing can plug in and it has annoying little chimes when it turns on. It's super loud, so you're going to wake up somebody if you're trying to plug this in and whatnot. But I think the sound tones for this thing could be down just a little bit, because the volume on it is practically high. And the only reason I bring something up like that, especially when you're plugging it in to turn it on, is because that's, as far as I know, all you can do to turn it on. You can't turn this thing on or off at will like past speakers. I don't see a power button. I don't know if you guys saw a power button within the B-roll, but I don't personally see a power button. I don't know of any power button or power feature through the dial here. I don't see any switches on the satellite speakers themselves, nor on the subwoofer. That's annoying, especially for someone like me who's owned a JBL Soundbar 200 from back in the day. For those of you that know, you know. The Bluetooth module on that was not good. So anybody, even outside your house, can connect to it and start playing. I had a bad experience with that at 3 a.m. Never again have I plugged that speaker into any outlet. So this kind of gives me a little bit of anxiety that it has to be plugged in and stays on all the time, especially if you're trying to view something on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and it starts blasting through the speakers when you think it's through your phone only. That's a little bit of an issue to me, because I don't want everything blasting through the speaker system. You know what I'm saying? Even the little text text tones for the keys and the keyboard of your phone, all of that comes through the speaker system, which is kind of annoying. I wish it wasn't like that, but oh well, push comes to shove, right? Oh, one more thing I almost forgot, the micro USB thing. Why micro USB in the back? Why not USB Type-C in today's day and age so that we can connect things easier? I mean, if I can connect USB-C to my iPad to the speaker, that would be cool, right? I mean, most MacBooks, if not all, that most people own nowadays are only Type-C now. They're only Type-C with an auxiliary port. I mean, at this point, if you could do Type-C from the MacBook straight to the speaker system, that would have been pretty cool, Logitech. Not sure why you went with micro USB. Maybe you had a good reason for it. But personally, to me, it's a no-go. That should have been thought about a little more before the speaker's release. I would have easily paid $100 for the speaker system if it meant, putting Type-C on the back of this thing. But oh well. So, put my iPad to the side, got this now. What is my final thoughts, my final verdict of the Logitech Z407 2.1 speaker system? Get it before it sells out again. I mean, really and truly, yes, the cons are a little major to worry about. I mean, if you're not worried about it, cool. I mean, an easy workaround for you not to have anything be streaming over Bluetooth, just hit the source button and change it to whatever other source if you're mainly on Bluetooth with this speaker. Otherwise, you can change it back to Bluetooth anytime you want from under the dial, and it'll just go back to your Bluetooth device. But that's a short workaround. But overall, the speaker system is great. It's fantastic. Yeah, it's made of complete plastic. The subwoofer is well built though. But yeah, the satellites and this thing is made of complete plastic. But for what you're getting in terms of sound quality, it absolutely blows much of the competition out of the water here. It blows this out of the park. It shows that Logitech is doing something in their sound lab, and it sounds awesome. So, thank you guys for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. I'm trying to make things look a little bit better on the channel, at least starting to grow, because again, we crossed 1,000 subscribers. We're on our way, on the road. I want to be optimistic here. It's good to be optimistic, keep pushing and keep moving forward, right? To our goal of 10,000. I can't wait for this channel to hit 10,000. It could happen overnight. It could happen within 6 months. Who knows? But I'm thankful for all of those of you who have already subscribed. And if you aren't subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It'll really help me out. Like the video. That also helps me out in the YouTube algorithm space. Comment down below. I'm going to try my best to get to your comments. Remember, I do still have a normal job, so responding to comments is a little bit hard nowadays, but I'm going to try my best. And most importantly, share the video. You never know when somebody may need more information about the Logitech Z407. Well, without further ado, guys, again, I hope you enjoyed it. Can't wait to hit 10,000 with all of you. I'll catch you guys in the next one.